Hey, it's James Taylor here. Is there a link between intelligence and creativity? Are more intelligent people also more creative people? That was the question that Dr. K.H. Kim, the academic Dr. K.H. Kim, was looking to answer in a recent study. You see, up until relatively recently, it was believed in something called the threshold theory. And the threshold theory is the idea that in order to be super creative, to be very, very creative, you have to have an IQ level of over 120 points. And Dr. K.H. Kim thought about this and said, well, is that really the case? So she conducted this huge study looking at over 250,000 children and adults and looked at their levels of creativity and also their IQ levels, their levels of intelligence. And what she found was there isn't a link between intelligence and creativity. In fact, what she found was that over the past 50 years or so, you've actually been seeing worldwide IQ levels increasing. But over the last 30 years or so, you've actually been seeing, in America at least, creativity levels declining. You see, from the 1960s up until around about the 1990s, creativity levels in America were increasing. In fact, it was known all over the world that America is one of the most creative countries around. However, at that point around the 1990s, something changed. And what Dr. K.H. Kim found is that one of the big reasons that creativity levels declined in America from that point and are still declining is in terms of what they did with their education system. At that point, they brought in much more kind of standardized testing. You had things like No Child Left Behind, for example, in America. And here's the real shame, because what happened was in Asia, they looked at the American system and they looked at the belief in terms of the American levels of creativity. I thought, well, we want to have those similar levels of creativity because they could see in terms of how economics were changing, how business, how work was changing, that we needed a workforce that was more creative, more innovative. So they looked to America and thought, let's imitate what they do in America because they had these rising levels of creativity. Unfortunately, in many Asian countries, they chose to imitate the system of the American education system after the 1990s. So in that system with those heavy kind of standardized testings, that's what you see in many Asian countries today. Now, that's not to say that standardized testing doesn't improve things like IQ levels, for example, and certain results that way and outcomes that way. However, when it comes from a creativity standpoint, it's one of the worst things you can do. And to make matters even worse, many Western governments looked at the rise of Asia and the improvement of Asia in terms of things like the PISA standards and how many Asian countries were having incredible outcomes in education from an IQ, from an academic perspective, and said, we need to copy that. So what they did is they copied that once again. And as a result, you actually see an acceleration in decrease of creativity levels now in America. So what can we do about this today? Looking at this, we see that there, as Dr. K.H. Kim proved in a seminal study called the Creativity Crisis, she showed that there wasn't a direct connection there between intelligence levels and creativity levels. So what can we do about that? Well, I would say it all really starts with the education system. I think we have to give teachers the ability to be flexible with the lessons that they provide to students, to foster greater curiosity and creativity in their children, to do high levels of CPD, continual professional development for those teachers, to give them the tools and also importantly the resources that they need to foster a more creative culture, to foster more creative students. Now, this might not necessarily be popular. In many countries, they're still very much looking in terms of academic outcomes. But if we believe in things like the World Economic Forum in terms of what are going to be the most important job skills by 2020, creativity is going to be the third most important job skills. That's because of things like AI, automation, and robots will replace many of the jobs today. And what will be most valued there is creativity. So we should probably be starting now on increasing those levels of creativity in our children, in our schools, and in our education system. Thanks for watching. Hi, it's James here. Did you enjoy that episode? If so, there's two things that we can do to continue the journey together. Firstly, I would love if you to subscribe, give us 5 stars, and leave a comment. Secondly, if you go to jamestaylor.me and enter your name and email address, I'm going to send you some free goodies all around creativity and innovation. Look forward to continuing the journey together.